Porsche, very splendidly turned out. But look, alongside a gap T, absentee is Julian Bailey and Tidell in the Lister Storm. And as pushed back, you may see the telltale signs that, well, there's a huge pool of oil, and that engine, sadly, is going no further, and they pack up and they're on the way home. So a gap at the front of the grid, but of course on the inside of the second row, Steve O'Rourke in the McLaren Formula One, the red car there, and behind them the Torquil tiring John Nielsen 911, the GT1 car. Just an awesome amount of power here at Croft. And on board with the leading GT2 category car with Kurt Luby and Richard Dean. Richard Dean it is at the wheel as the lights have gone green and fighting his way down towards Clervaux, trying to zip and zap about to find a clear way through. He's moved over to the right-hand side, but it is, it's a change at the front because John Nielsen has brought the 911 Porsche through to pass that of John Greasley. And also going past there, the Harrier GT1 of Jamie Campbell-Walter. So Greasley, not the best of opening laps for him. Drop down as he is to third place. There they come towards us. The Harrier, the meat in the Porsche sandwich. There's Greasley going through. The Viper goes through in fourth. And in fifth place, it's Steve O'Rourke at the wheel of the McLaren F1 GTR. Just to the left-hander and sweeping right into Sonny. Leaders, though, well, very close indeed between those three. A little bit of a gap. The Esprit there in sixth place. And there's the TVR Silver, the number 55 car with Colin Blower. Will be partnered later in that by Nigel Greensill, all being well. John Morrison to the inside of the Esprit, he moves up, and also ahead, looked as though Steve O'Rourke tried to go to the inside of the Viper, with Richard Dean fending him off. At the moment, there's a huge scrap going on for the lead, though. John Nielsen, the Harrier there in second, and still Greasley unable to do nothing about it here. This time a chance for Steve O'Rourke to go. He looks to the right, he goes to the inside. He's got a huge amount more power than the Viper of Richard Dean, and he'll take that position. That's him up into fourth place. There they come. Round into Hawthorne Bend. Very pretty car. It's unusual to see that in the orange, isn't it? With so many of the road cars being blue, and Greasley for a moment there taking a little excursion. And does that give the Viper a chance to close up again on the McLaren? It might just have thrown Stephen O'Rourke there for a moment. And a problem. Graham Morris slowing in the Esprit. Well, that means that Jackie van der Ende, who's here to replace Allard Kauf, might not get a run. Incidentally, the Lister there of Paul Evans and William Hewland running late down the field because they had to stop from the pit lane, and that's why he's making his way through the field and doing a fine job of it too. Also doing a fine job of it, this the Harrier of Jamie Campbell-Walter, partnered by Graham Good. Is he going to be partnered by Good? Now, was there contact? Bodywork absolutely shattering everywhere, and that bodywork coming back from the Porsche of John Greasley. Now, you can see it just up ahead of us. We're on board here with Steve O'Rourke again. The Harrier, the left-hand side there, bodywork dislodged from that, through the hairpin they go. I'll tell you what, Steve O'Rourke looks like he's absolutely desperate just to plant his foot, isn't he, and get that McLaren propelling forward. Can he go by the Harrier? Yes, he can. So Steve O'Rourke takes the McLaren up a position. There, the damage on John Greasley's Porsche. Let's just have a look at that again. Well, Greasley certainly has the inside line there. I suspect that Jamie Campbell-Walter just hadn't got a clue that how close John Greasley had got to him, and it's almost removed the front corner at the left-hand side of that Porsche. Well, they'll all fight again another day. Here's our leader, John Nielsen, at the wheel of the 911, completing another lap. Just an awesome sound from this Porsche, the GT1. A clear track ahead of him, save for the back markers, who John is now coming up against. Don't forget, we'll have driver changes for you yet to come as well. They must take place during the race. And Greasley, well, managing to keep going, but I just wonder whether that has caused him a bigger problem than he might have anticipated. He's in the pit lane. Now, is this for a scheduled stop, or is it just that he decides that he's got to make some adjustments? Well, we suspect news from the pit lane is that it is the scheduled stop, and there indeed is Magnus Verlinde, ready to take over the wheel of the Porsche from John Greasley. Greasley slides out and Verlinde slides in. And of course, these two, a vital outing for them here at Croft, the third round, because from the opening two rounds they are 2 of 6 drivers who share the points lead at the moment, and there is one of the others, Steve O'Rourke along with Tim Sugden. They're all planted together on 35 points, including Richard Dean and Kurt Luby. They're the other two. Well, of course, the McLaren has the advantage of one in from the one side and one out the other, and that makes the driver change hopefully much smoother. Well, the doors are flung down and away they go, and are they out ahead of the Porsche? Yes they are! So, Tim Sugden will take the lead. They've beat the Porsche out. It's a pretty battered looking Porsche, one has to say, but we get news that that's only bodywork problems and they don't expect any further difficulties. So Magnus Verlinde will now set about the chase of Tim Sugden. The Harrier still flailing its bodywork around and in second place, but having been chased down now by the Hewland, in fact Paul Evans at the wheel of that, the Hewland-Evans Lister. And will they try and mount a challenge here? Well, the Harrier, we suspect, due a stop shortly. Evans, though, having a great run in the Lister. And looks as though he might go down the inside. The Harrier moves over. Jamie Campbell-Walter moves over. And through goes Paul Evans, the former Formula 3 star, through Hawthorne Bend. And, well, what's the news on the Lotus Esprit? Well, the news is that the problem Graham Morris had earlier on seems to have cured itself, we believe anyway, and In is getting the second driver of their particular partnership, and that's Jackie van der Ende, as we said before. And here GT1 Porsche plays GT2 Porsche. We're on board with John Morrison, and up ahead of us the GT1 Porsche of John Nielsen and Torkild Tyring still to come in, and in the pit lane. Oh, and there's a little bit of miscoordination there. Well, they're in to change the wheel on that Porsche. I said before that we didn't think they got a problem, but Magnus Verlinde clearly thinks they have. Back on board with John Nielsen, and a spinner in front. The Marcus has spun right in front of the leader. Well, fortunately for John Nielsen, he was really on it there, and up to the game. Another driver change, that's the 50. John Morrison out, and In gets Lister. And the leaders in the GT2 class also in, respecting the pit lane speed limit. Of course, lots of activity in the pit lane, and for safety's sake, need to make sure that they don't transgress. The very final position in the pit lane for Kurt Luby and Richard Dean. Dean out and Luby in, also in now. A great drive from the back of the field. There's William Hewland running round in the yellow overalls. Out will get Paul Evans, who drove such a sterling first stint. But here the leader now. John Nielsen, still waiting in the pit lane to take over for his drive, is Torkild Tyring. And there he is, just talking it through with the team, what's about to be done. Here comes Nielsen, and the leader is in. So the race leader, well, Torkild Tyring's talking will have to stop because he's about to get behind the wheel. Already behind the wheel is Tim Sugden, of course. Second and third, these two fighting out. And the leader in, well, it's all happening so frantically in this Privilege Insurance GT Championship. Assistance being given. In his Tyring, the door is closed, and away he goes. So John Nielsen will be able to report back what's been happening. Out they go in their 911 GT. Here is William Hewland. They're fighting out, as we said, for places on the track. And Sugden, the back marker keeping out the way. Sugden will want to get the power on this, might just give him the chance to get past. Hewland ahead of him. Sugden trying up through the gearbox. To the outside. Backing off on the res, drops it down again, he's through. It was almost too easy, wasn't it, for Tim Sugden. Around the outside as well, up to Clervaux and through Hawthorne. And Luby indicating that he should be passed on the inside. We suspect one of the leaders strike tucked in behind him. It is in fact Torkild Tyring. And a flash there as the engine emits a little bit of unwanted fuel, unspent fuel in the exhaust system. The leader though, Torkild Tyring. There is Kurt Luby at the wheel of the Dodge Viper, the V10 powered machine. And they're coming through, sweeping past some of the back markers. Magnus Verlinde, double pit stop for them of course, so that's dropped them down to that fourth place they occupy at the moment. They will certainly have no trouble, we would hope, with the back markers, and no trouble at all at the moment for the leaders, starting from the outside of the second row, but they've swept through. Torkild Tyring having replaced John Nielsen, and currently lying in second place, Tim Sugden at the wheel of the McLaren. Just a chance to admire Sugden at work. Just gives you a real insight into how far round Hawthorne Bend goes here at Croft. Just bouncing across the bumps on the backstretch, up to Tower, the right-hander, but up ahead and on his way towards the checkered flag, and a certain victory has to be said. With John Nielsen having doing a brilliant first stint, Torkild Tyring picking up and continuing that good work. Mechanically, The 911 has been extraordinarily sound. He's at the chicane now, just wheels it out of there. Here comes the checkered flag, because time is up. The 50-minute race is run, and the checkered flag. Oh, that was very close, wasn't it? Second place will go to Tim Sugden and Steve O'Rourke, and that will help them keep their championship aspirations alive for the McLarens. And there's the confirmation. Nielsen and Tyring, the winners. O'Rourke and Sugden taking second, and winning the GT2 category, Richard Dean and Kurt Luby. Well, despite that victory, it doesn't help them as far as the championship is concerned, because that is now led by Richard Dean and Kurt Luby on 55 points, with O'Rourke and Sugden just 5 points amiss in second place.